name is Allie Vera, and I am presenting my interpersonal communication project for Human Services Counseling 508. What exactly is interpersonal communication? Stewart defines general communication as the continuous, complex, and collaborative process of verbal and nonverbal meaning making. But he adds to it when he describes interpersonal communication as the type of communication that happens when people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. My overarching goal. Throughout the duration of this course, I have identified several concepts and principles that have applied to my current interpersonal arena. With these concepts and principles in mind, I have identified an overarching goal to have conversations with loved ones that are more meaningful and that will result in more fulfilling relationships. I plan to have more self-disclosure with others, or more appropriate self-disclosure with others, level 1 empathetic listening, and changing my personal attribution process with others to develop more accurate identities. Enlarging the conversation centers around level 1 empathetic listening. Listening is the part of communication that everyone struggles with because everyone wants to be the talker. Level 1 listening shifts the focus from oneself to the talker. This requires empathy and practice. Also, if one is not open to others, empathetic listening will only get you halfway to true interpersonal communication. The personality assessments we took at the beginning of the course first identified me as the IC for "this is expected of me" type of behavioral blend. Carbonell describes this type as one with the best reputation and known as the ultimate crowd pleaser. The majority of my personality is a positive for me because I am not timid when it comes to communicating with others. However, there are negatives, such as my tendency to be a follower instead of a leader, as well as my lack of drive in certain situations. My "this is me" type was identified as a CIS. This personality type has many positive points, such as being a good problem solver and in-depth thinker. Negatives with this personality type include being stubborn and overly opinionated. As we all know, our background has significant impact on our communication abilities. Burley Allen defines strokes as any form of recognition or attention one person gives to another. My childhood was full of positive strokes from my mother, such as her openness to me, as well as continuous positive recognition. Her discipline was also a positive stroke. Socialization was also a huge part of my childhood and adolescence. Burley Allen also states that all children live in a social environment that influences the type of behavioral patterns they develop. With any type of self-disclosure, there is a risk of rejection and ridicule from the person you are communicating with. Knowing that this is a reality and being prepared for these possible responses will be a coping mechanism for the possible negative feelings that follow. Challenging and difficult subject matter can also hinder open communication. I encounter special circumstances like boring stories, problems, fears, and tears on a regular basis in my personal and professional life. Peterson offers several pointers on how to respond to the talkers in these conversations, such as finding out the underlying meaning of the story or issue and helping with the thinking process that identifies all the options as well as the pros and cons. Being a fully invested empathetic listener can put one at risk for being imposed upon and exploited. Our world is full of those who take advantage of others. And it is also important not to let yourself be subject to exploitation. Lastly, there is also a chance of past disappointment and betrayal happening again, which only reinforces the ultimate attribution error. This is another circumstance where it is beneficial to be prepared for all possibilities and to avoid the disappointment and betrayal, if at all possible, by looking for red flags and warnings. As we all know, rejection and ridicule are a reality in day-to-day life. In one's practice of communication with others, it is important to be prepared to cope with each of these. Seeking support from others is a great way to overcome any barrier. As Peterson suggests, one should seek deeper meaning behind the challenging subject matter or those special circumstances. As a listener, it is also important to exhibit sensitivity to the talker because it aims them to open up more and feel more comfortable with the important information that you are communicating. Finally, one must be aware of any possible outcome of any conversation in order to find determination to work past each one. There are two types of noise pollution, internal and external. There are many examples such as hearing what we want to hear and interruptions. It is important to find solutions to various types of noise pollution in your interpersonal arena. Some of the solutions I have identified with are moving on from past experiences, dedication and patience, optimism, asking the talker for clarity, and eliminating noise and interruptions in planning. My personal action plan is to eliminate the fear behind self-disclosure, because any relationship that does not have self-disclosure is unhealthy. When done properly, it can only strengthen a relationship. Also, being open to new perspectives. This comes with practice and maturity. I must say that I have improved a lot on this, but I have a long way to go. Any new transition requires practice and dedication, having a more positive outlook and having more faith in others, and most importantly, seeking God's guidance, because with His help, all things are possible. And here's my bibliography. Thank you so much.